You're probably doing the wrong tasks at your gym. How do I know? I did the wrong tasks at my gym for years. But today I'm going to chat with a gym owner who succeeded in offloading some tasks and removing himself from many roles so he can build a better business. I'm Mike Workington. This is Two Brain Radio. Quick reminder, if you're lost at sea, you can interact with Two Brain mentors and Chris Cooper himself in the private Facebook group Gym Owners United. To join, head to gymownersunited.com. Do that today. Now, we track everything at Two Brain, and in August, our leaderboard for owners' hourly rate went from $180 to over $800, if you can believe that. The people on the leaderboard make money from their businesses, and they do it without working millions and millions of hours. To calculate your effective hourly rate, or EHR as we call it, divide your total pay, including all benefits from the business, by the number of hours you worked on or in the business. You got to count them all, not just the ones that you spend coaching. Now, you can drive your EHR up by working fewer hours or by making more money. Working less and making more sounds like a pretty sweet combo to me. So today we're going to dig into offloading tasks so that you have more time as an owner. With me is Shane Ryder of Kiowa Fitness in Independence, Oregon. He made our EHR leaderboard in August. Shane, welcome to Two Brain Radio.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, Mike.
I'm fired up. You're going to help a lot of people because just like me, they are stuck in spots where they're not offloading tasks and having trouble developing staff. So I want to know how you do it. So I understand that you let most of your team handle the day-to-day tasks now. Was it hard to release control and delegate that, or how did you learn to do it?
I'd say in the beginning, it was really tough. I didn't have a clear vision in how to do that. It was something that probably like most gym owners, it's burning yourself out and you're having a really hard time burning the candle on both ends, and it's like trying to figure out a way to how to get yourself out of doing everything. And once you kind of offload, I think those first couple things like the gym cleaning and maybe hiring your first coach or something like that, it tends to get a little bit easier. But there's definitely some little bit of issue personally, like letting go of your, kind of like you're letting your child go on their first bicycle ride. Like, oh, you're really nervous, and are they going to be able to fill that task? But yeah, in the beginning it was tough, but now that I've done it a few times and I have all of my tasks laid out like that I was doing previously, and which ones I wanted to let go of first, and then kind of work down the list of things that I wasn't really getting joy out of, essentially, and that I was okay with letting go. And then there's some things that it's like I really enjoy still doing that, but I know for the better of the business, I need to hand it off to somebody else.
So what was the first thing you offloaded?
Cleaning the gym was the first
Cleaning.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was more of my wife, like, hey, you're there from sun up to sundown. Now we're coming in on the weekends or staying later, 9, 10 o'clock at night to clean, because it was something that we made a very specific priority, that we are going to keep this place as spotless as we possibly can, which is very difficult for a gym. So you have to spend a lot of time doing it. We bought that floor cleaner, and that was one of our first big purchases, in our gym, and spending time cleaning it and stuff. But it's like then our weekends got filled up with cleaning and stuff, and so she said, you need some time off. You need to take a break, so let's find somebody to help do that. And that was one of the first things for sure. And then it became one of my first coaches we hired.
So you did the classic thing where you were kind of the one person show right off the bat, correct?
Yep, right off the bat it was all me for probably a solid 10 months, I believe.
And when did you start? When did you open the business?
We opened in November of 2015. So we're knocking on the door of 7 years.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. And when did you do that? When did you offload this thing? Was this shortly after, or did you do the thing where I did, where I worked for 5 or 7 years cleaning the gym yourself while you're doing lunges and warm up with a vacuum cleaner? Did you do that?
It was probably 3 or 4 months in. We'd had we're close to a college town, Western Oregon University, and we had a couple college kids want to come in. And typically in our style of gym, the more the boutique fitness, if you will, that college kids can't really afford those kind of memberships. And their high school had CrossFit previously. So they come in and were like, hey, we really want to work out here. We just can't afford it. Is there anything we can do? And I'm like, yes, there is. You can clean our gym.
Now,
So
I've made mistakes with that one. So I want to ask if you did the same thing as me or if you were much more clever. I had a deal like that, but we kind of didn't formalize it. So like the holiday would come around or whatever, and it
mhm.
just wouldn't happen. And then everyone ended up mad at each other. Did you do that same thing, or were you smarter than me and put contracts in place?
Oh no, no. I'm still learning that process. Like
Okay.
I'm still getting bitten by not having the contractual agreements with some of our staff. But um, no, that was more of a kind of that handshake deal. Like, hey, you do this, and then you get the service from us. And I mean, it worked out really well till it didn't, right?
Yeah.
And then just like anything else, that then we found the next person who's been with us. He was a member of the gym probably like right after we opened, so he's been with us almost all 7 years. And him and his son picked up the cleaning, and it's been immaculate ever since, and very high standard. So it was definitely a great transition to our newer cleaning personnel for sure.
Yeah. And gym owners, if you're listening, cleaning is one of the first roles you can offload because it's not a role that you need to do. All right. And there's cleaners are going to do a better job than you. Like I know that you care about your gym, but the reality is that you're not a cleaner. You're a coach and an entrepreneur. Offload that cleaning role for 15 or so dollars. Two Brain has an exact process that teaches you how to do this in order. And the idea is that you're going to pay a cleaner, I don't know, $12 to $20 an hour, whatever it is in your area. You're going to use the time that's saved, say 4 hours a week, to make back the money that you're spending on the cleaner and more. That's the key. You have to make more, and you're replacing yourself in what we call low value roles. That doesn't mean they're unimportant. It just means they're not as valuable as CEO work. Replace yourself, level up, do more important work. Good things will happen. And what I'll recommend, something I didn't do, when you start with this stuff, formalize it, right? Put the stuff in place and say, just so there's no hard feelings or vagueness, here's how you do it. Here's exactly the job. Here's when it needs to be done. Here are the standards. Sign it, and away we go. And that's going to save you a ton of problems because I did not do this. And it was done whenever to certain standards and so forth and whatnot. So you can save yourself a lot of heartache by putting that stuff in place. Now, cleaning might be considered an easy role to replace yourself in because most gym owners don't really have a passion for it. It's not why we open gyms. It's relatively inexpensive to replace yourself in that role. But how, Shane, did you manage to start offloading higher value roles and stepping back maybe from coaching and other things like that?
Well, I think the first way that I started handing that off was probably like most people, you really start feeling the burnout, and
Mm-hmm.
you start trying to find somebody who just almost anybody who can do that role. Like, who do I think can coach? Like, I mean,
Who's awake at 6
any
a.m.?
yeah,
Go.
right. Like, who can come in here and just kind of even fake the funk, to get you to
Yeah.
to fill that position. And I mean, fortunately for me, I was very timing wise. We had the first coach who came in and filled a role for us. She was leaving another gym, and she was looking for another gym to coach at. And she wanted the right fit. We wanted the right fit. Very knowledgeable, and had been doing the high intensity functional fitness, CrossFit stuff, Olympic lifting, all the things. Like someone like almost like that unicorn. Like, oh my gosh, this person's coming into my gym and they want to coach here. Yay! Like, absolutely. Like, whatever you want to do, like bend over backwards to get that person to come. And I was pretty fortunate that as the years had went on, we've done some different things. We built up our staff pretty well through internally, people who been doing CrossFit for a few years, someone who's really eager to kind of take that next that next step into being a part of the gym and the community, and being more of an active role with the business, and going to go with their level one, and then bringing them on slowly, onboarding them. And the processes have changed over the years as well. 2020 really hurt us as far as
Yeah.
shutdowns and whatnot, like a lot of people did, and we ended up losing quite a few of our staff members. And so this is where my policies and procedures of our coaching role really took effect, and in how we decided to start interning and how we started to fill in the process, the procedures of onboarding new coaches. And because it was there, but the the practicality of it was not quite as good. Like, it was very impractical, trying to months and months and months of onboarding and interning and shadowing classes, and it just wasn't realistic for someone to kind of just follow this process for such a long period of time. So we kind of downsized that, and then we started what's called the advanced theory course, which I got from Two Brain as well, and just refined that for what we were looking for. And when we were fully back up and running again post COVID, I put out a message to our members, say, hey, we're doing this advanced theory course, we're looking for new fresh faces and who really want to do this and be a part of the gym in a bigger role. And we had 12 people who signed up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So every time I talk to a gym owner like you who has a high hourly rate, the word that always comes up, and you just said it, was policies, and the other word is procedures, right? So this stuff,
Mhm.
it's boring, it's tedious, it's not sexy writing out these things, but it is literally the backbone of every business, from a giant franchise like McDonald's, which is like a global success story, to the local gym where the owner is making a great wage and not driving him or herself into the ground working 1,000,000 hours. It always comes back to policies and procedures. And you really hit on it there, where you had that stuff. COVID sets you back, but you can then just plug people back into your systems and so forth. How did you get all this stuff set up? Like, how did you formalize everything and get these things in place so that you had them as a backbone of your business?
Well, fortunately, I stayed in contact with one of my former gym owners where I first started, doing CrossFit back in 2013. He was really helpful when I decided to open my own, and anything I needed,
Oh,
whatever
nice.
advice I could give you. So pretty much, he had his handbook, the employee handbook, and a lot of his policies and procedures obviously aligned with what we were looking for and what we were wanting to do here. So, he forwarded along, hey, change what you need, update, you know, headers and footers, and keep it as a living document. And fortunately, my wife has a human resources background as well, so she's
Beautiful.
very in tune to the things that we need to have to run a successful business as well. So um, kind of just put all that together, and over time it's just kind of growing and adjusting and making it to kind of what it is today, and the success that we've had by using it and continuing to update it. So
Now, Shane
um,
had someone who was able to give him that book. You may not have that as a gym owner. I can tell you, Two Brain can be that friend for you, because we have these policies and procedures, we have roles, we have all this stuff for you as part of the mentorship package. So if you're struggling, you don't know where to start, we have playbook templates and all the things that can lead you down this path. Because when I started, I didn't have the friend like that either. And I really struggled. It took me forever to offload this stuff. I never did it very successfully. So I'm always inspired by gym owners who are able to do it quickly. When did you start with Two Brain, Shane?
I think October 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
Did
perfect timing, actually.
Yeah, that's isn't that the truth? When you started, you already had some of this stuff in place, because I'm hearing that you had some original playbook stuff, and you had offloaded some things. What changed working with a mentor with that process? Did you have to upgrade anything or change anything, or was it a system of review, or what changed with mentorship?
Oh yeah, I took what Two Brain had offered for support and help, and just kind of just bounce it off each other. Things uh, that I liked from, because with Two Brain you have this knowledge of all these different gyms, and all the knowledge that Two Brain has picked up over the years, and you could see the things that like were I had to fill some holes. Like, oh hey, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about this. Um, I'm still, obviously still working on it, like
Mhm.
doing contractual agreements with coaches and stuff like that. So putting that in there, and just stuff that you just don't think about, like having a head coach, having a social media person, which
Mhm.
wasn't something that uh, the the employee handbook had, or have like roles and responsibilities for social media, because it really wasn't quite a thing yet when he started his gym. So
Yeah.
having an admin wasn't something that I even thought I was going to ever need. And then digging in there and seeing that they have the roles and responsibilities for an admin. And when in my business did I need to start bringing someone in for an admin, which was actually this last role that I just had filled, which really
Nice.
helped me. Which, I mean, I think that's why it kind of tied in with the, being on the leaderboard for the month of August, is that I brought her on in June and July, and I took some time off, so it allowed me to, make sure that what I had said was her roles and responsibilities, that she was able to take that and run with it, and be successful from right out, right from the gate, right from the start.
As you've been offloading this stuff, have you been successful in leveling up to those other roles, like going up from, not cleaning anymore, so I'm spending my time on this higher value role, and then eventually working up into that CEO role? Has that been an easy transition for you?
Definitely not at first, because I think the passion that most people get from wanting to open this business is working with clients,
Right.
working as a coach, and educating, and just being in with the classes and the groups of people, and the personal touches. You get to, talk to everybody and see everybody. And as you slowly start pulling yourself away, like, there's definitely some feelings of, like, maybe remorse, like, oh, am I doing the right thing? um uh, Maybe some imposter syndrome going on, like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm letting people down because I'm not part of the classes anymore. I'm not as involved in all the day-to-day stuff, and people aren't seeing me as much. But, stepping back and realizing that, the biggest thing for me that I had to come to terms with is that if anything ever happened to me, I was doing so much that, if if I'm in a hospital for weeks or months on end for, whatever reason, is the gym going to survive? And I needed to get it to a point, into a place where I knew it would. And now I know for a fact I'm there. Like, I can go on vacations just fine. I can, be away from the gym for a few days, um, just doing other things, and not have to worry about anything being missed.
And
And
that's a heavy one, right? Because like you think about it, just gym owners, we set out to help people. We can't help anyone if the gym goes out of business because we're burned out and cranky and not getting any sleep and getting divorced because we can't spend any time with our families, right? That's a
right.
reality. And like,
Yes.
I know people that have gone through that. I definitely had my own struggles with like working way too much. So to be able to get that gym on autopilot is a great thing, but it's also challenging. And you laid out the exact same thing. And it's funny because I had a member tell me one time when I had replaced myself with some coaches, the member said, I think it's a mistake. I think, you need to be coaching more. And I was like, I can't give you what I did before because I'm exhausted. And that coach honestly was doing a better job than I was anyways. And so for me, I had to then eventually sell that to the members and let them know that like I am not the face and the soul of this business. And luckily my wife became that. And then she had coaches that did that. But as an owner, it's very hard. There is that guilt, right? You feel like, wow, I'm just not pulling my weight. But then the interesting thing, and I've talked to other gym owners about this, once you start delegating and seeing what it does for the business, what it does for the clients, it gets addictive, right? Because you realize I can do more for more and better for more people. Did that happen to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were able to just offer, different services. I think, having that, the personal training, or even the one-on-one intro classes, I was able to start working on those, and in onboarding, on ramping our members more effectively, instead of trying to rush them through, like actually sitting down with them, doing assessments, mobility, and um, exercise assessments with our new members. And I could actually say, hey, we need to spend some more time on this before we send you on to group class. And I was able to do that. And then I was able to hire some personal trainers who are now doing that I can offload that to them. Same thing with like our youth classes. I was coaching all the youth classes, you know found somebody who was very interested in coaching youth classes through our advanced theory course, brought her on. um, had the local university that I mentioned earlier, they have an exercise science program, finding interns want to come in, bring them on. And so it's just like, yes, let me keep on, bringing on new members and onboarding them, and making sure that, they're following the proper policies and procedures, and how we do things, and setting expectations that, there's a level of service that we provide, and, and the level of care that we provide as well, that, we need to maintain that standard. And so we also started a weightlifting program that the individual that I mentioned earlier who's cleaning the gym really, caught the weightlifting bug, went and has USAW level 1 and 2, started the weightlifting program. We now have 30 some members in our weightlifting program.
Whoa.
So it's just all those things that, as you free up your time, you can your vision is I think when a couple years ago or last year when they had Jocko on for the summit, he talked about, if your head is always down and in, you can't look up and out. And now that I was able to kind of look up and out and see, down the road, hey, I want to start this kids program. I want to start this weightlifting program. I need to get our nutrition on track. I need to get our personal training on track. And now we just started the Legends course of 55 and over. And once again, found the right coach. We sat down. She onboarded through the Two Brain Legends course, and now it's off and running. And
Yeah.
that's just the beauty of once you get past that nervousness of handing off tasks, that it just becomes easier.
You can't look up and out when you're looking down at a floor scrubber, right?
Right, exactly. Yep, exactly.
It's just impossible to do. And I remember scraping gum off rowing machines, however the hell it got there. And that was not going to do anything to build my business. Right. And so the obvious question, and I think I know the answer, but I'll ask you anyways, how did the business change financially as you started to get yourself out of these roles and look up and out?
I mean, yeah, you probably know, just like most people at Two Brain, that once you start able to pull yourself away and actually start to run your business more effectively, like financially, just, 50, 60% improvement in revenue and profit. And
Wow.
it was one thing that's one of the hard lessons is, getting your finances correct and making sure that your cash flow is correct, and working with I just started with Insight Tax a few months ago.
Yeah, John Briggs, pump for him. Yeah.
Yep. And got on the profit first mentality and opening up the different accounts. And it's one of those things that's like, why didn't I do this? But it's one of the things that you put kind of on the back burner, like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like I have all these other fires to put out. But once you have time to sit down and say, okay, now I'm the accountant of the gym. Like, do I want to be the accountant of the gym? No, I don't. I want to remove myself from that role. And so, it was easy enough to hop on a call with them, understand like what their vision is for you and your gym, and getting the finances straight. And so now I can see like how much profit we're taking, how much owner pay, and that we need to be doing first. And then knowing that, hey, there's some things that we need to do on our end to pay pay our coaches and pay our monthly electric bill and rent and that kind of stuff. But now I feel like there's a little more ease, that I don't feel like so stressed about it. I know it's all there. I see it coming in. If I have some erroneous payment go out, like what is that, why is it going out, and I can spend time researching that and making sure that if this is a one-time thing, or if this is something that someone's trying to take money from me, that I can get in there and nip it in the bud and not have to worry about missing a class.
Yeah. And you mentioned like if gym owners out there, if you're nervous about offloading stuff and like, how do I pay for this? Again, there is an exact step-by-step plan. It involves math. It is not hard. And you're going to look at your hours. You're going to look at your tasks. You're going to break them down by replacement value, meaning what is it going to cost me to fill this role? Then you're going to figure it out. And there is an exact process. So it's not just like hire everyone and walk. There is a process in place, and we can lead you through it. Shane, how many hours do you think you were working at your peak when you started out? What was your max, do you think, weekly? Three figures?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I coached. See, when I started out, I didn't really have any sort of idea about, schedules. Like I always think about it, man, if I would have done something different, obviously, like we can always go back and, hindsight and all that. But I was working, we had 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So 7 classes a day, 6 days a week, or 5 days a week. Because I even had it through like Fridays, like, hey, everybody's going to want to come to the gym, and I got to be able to have availability all the time. So, I mean, that's, 35 hours just in coaching classes. Then I had 2 on Saturdays, so that's 37. Then I had 2 on Sunday.
That's just coaching.
Um, just yeah, this is just coaching. Like this isn't. So I was programming, our workouts, um, everything else that's involved. Cleaning the gym, attempting to do some sort of social media posts, to try to show people I'm relevant in the area. And so, I mean, we're probably talking 70, probably 70 a week.
That's not sustainable. I mean, that's a recipe
Yeah.
for burnout. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could, as a hard grinding gym owner, and I've been there, you can sustain that for a bit, but eventually
Mm-hmm.
it's no one can do it forever. And then the quality of service goes down. And then eventually businesses go under because it's not
Mm-hmm.
worth it anymore.
Right.
How many hours a week are you working now? How does this work out? Like what are your roles at the gym like now?
Um, I was just looking at it. I think I'm right around 12 hours a week right now.
Life is
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, 70 to 12. I mean, that's a huge improvement, right?
Wow.
Quality of life is great. So, pretty much what I'm doing now is what I want to do. It's uh, nothing that I need to, like, if I wanted to pass things off, I could, but right now it's mostly I have a couple personal training clients who I really enjoy working with, and if they move on, or if I need to pass them off to somebody else, I I pretty much cap myself at 5 clients because I really still want to coach, and I really want to have that personal connection with some of our members in the gym for sure. So I do that. I do um, our I do weekly meetings with 2 of my staff, our um, customer or success manager and our admin. We have staff meetings every Monday, and then I have week or monthly meetings with my head coach and our other coaches. We meet monthly. So um, mostly it's just running the business and deciding what direction we need to go, and when are we going to do an apparel order, when are we going to do fit aids and kill clips, and all those kind of things, like just running the the gym and the vision of the gym and moving it forward. And fortunately, it's the day-to-day stuff that I've passed off is running successfully, and just a little bit of checking in with our coaches and stuff like that, and just making sure people are mentally well, and getting their workouts in just like everybody else is, and that's about it.
Well, it sounds like you've gone from cleaner to CEO.
I believe I have. Yes.
Congratulations, because not everyone does that. A lot of gym owners get stuck in the muck and never get out of it. I'm going to ask you this. So you have this last thing. Last is we have gym owners out there who are where you were and where I was 10 years ago, doing way too much and trying to figure this out. So the question for me is, what advice would you give a gym owner who's just working that 70-hour week and wants to get where you are? What do you do?
Yeah, I was just talking to a gym owner just a few weeks ago. He's in our area, and he looked like he'd been run down, and he talked to me about working a ton. And I said, you need to get on a call with Two Brain. I seriously, like, I'm not trying to plug it because this is the podcast that I'm on, but I feel that all the information, the direction, the mentorship, the all the help, just all the help and resources are priceless. They put you in the right spot. They show you how to get there. They don't just say, hey, you need to go hire a social media person. You need to go hire a cleaner. You need to go hire a new coach. And then you're just sitting back like, how do you do that? And Two Brain shows you how. They have multiple people who've done it. They have everything in place to help you. They have scripts. They have for me to put like employment ads out, to try to hire somebody. I mean, all that stuff is essentially done for you. Like, there's maybe some stuff you need to go in and change, but otherwise there's somebody there essentially almost 24 hours a day. Like you email, you could text or get on the group and say, hey, I'm really having difficulty with this. How do you do it? And someone's responding like almost immediately, which I think is like I said, priceless. Like it's really hard to wrap your head around that you have somebody available to you to help you through this process, but you just have to have help, especially if you're at your wits end like I was. I like had no idea how to get to where I needed to go, and have somebody there to kind of nudge you along and keep you accountable, just like us coaches in the gym being accountable to our members, like to be accountable to somebody else, and for you to get homework and tasks to do before your next time you meet them. It's like that driving force to get you to a better spot. And that's the biggest thing that's ever helped me. Like if I could once again go back, in 2015 and get on a call with Two Brain and get mentorship from the beginning, who knows where I'd be now, but I'm definitely grateful for when I found them, and how the business has grown since then.
Mentorship is about saving time. And that's really what it is. You would have figured it out eventually, but by doing it through with the help and support, you can get through it so much faster because you don't have to lay the tracks yourselves. You just have to tailor things to your specific business. That's why Chris Cooper is passionate about one-on-one mentorship. One mentor works with one business owner. We take the existing systems and we tailor them to that business, save you time so that you can get out of the 70-hour week, scraping gum off the rowers, and you can hang out with Shane at the whiskey bar after work and enjoy your favorite pastimes. Shane, thank you so much. I'm not going to add another hour to your work week here. I'm going to let you go, but I really appreciate you sharing an extra hour of your time with our community to let them know how you did this. And congratulations again for making our leaderboard for August.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. That was EHR leader Shane Ryder on Two Brain Radio. Thanks for listening to the show. Please hit subscribe on the way out wherever you're watching or listening.